Hey everybody, Dan Martell here, serial entrepreneur, investor, and creator of Idea to Exit, where I teach you how to start, grow, and sell your technology company. And today I'm super excited to share with you guys some strategies to really get the most out of your time building a company. Now, you may be somebody that has an idea that wants to bring it to market, or you've been building a software company and you're really struggling to find your stride, and this video series is for you. You know, I really truly believe that we live in this crazy opportunity in this world to build software that changes everybody's lives. I mean, think about this. People are walking around with supercomputer power in their back pockets. The way they interact with their friends, they communicate at work, how technology has changed industries. We went from an industrial revolution to an information revolution where there's never been companies built faster to $1 billion in revenues like Airbnb, Uber, Dropbox, all these companies that you probably use and love, fastest to $1 billion in revenue. And I really truly believe that this opportunity is available to everybody out there. If you have aspirations to build a software company, or you want to figure out how to get traction in your company, that's what I'm going to share with you guys today. I'm going to kick it off by teaching you guys two fundamental things. One, how to do no-cost product development. It's a big promise, but I'll show you how to do that. Then I'm going to talk to you guys about true customer validations, my beliefs and ideas on getting customers to help you build the right product. And finally, I'm going to share with you guys the most fundamental tip at the very end on how to do these things right. This one tip, if you do not get this right, everything else will just fall on deaf ears. You really need to understand this. I'm going to share with you guys at the end. Now, I want to tell you guys a story about a woman named Janet. Janet was an interior designer. You know, a lot of you guys might resonate with this. You've had ideas, you've wanted to bring them to life, and you just haven't been able to figure it out. Well, about 5 years ago, I got asked to have a dinner, kind of a business roundtable, and I met Janet there, and she was telling me about her experience building these amazing spaces for people to live in or work in. That's what she did as an interior designer. And a couple years prior to that, she got inspired to build a software company because she wanted to bring her skills and her talents to the world. She wanted more people to be impacted by her gift. And so she did what she thought she'd have to do. She found a development company. She spent tens of thousands of dollars building a product, a prototype. And here we were, and I asked her how things had been going since then. And unfortunately, she told me, you know, I'm $160,000 in, I remortgaged my home, and we haven't even launched the product yet. And my heart sank. I was like, and she goes, what should I do? And I'm like, I mean, honestly, I wish you would have came to see me 2 years ago, because the answer I would have given Jan is what I'm going to teach you guys in this video. It's very simple fundamentals that I think will help you build the right product for the customer without emptying your bank account. It's so important, you know. The reason why I do these videos is because I really believe that people have the potential, and without the guidance, they end up making mistakes that can take them out of the business. You know, I'm fortunate that I've had a lot of people help me in building my business. I don't know if you guys know my story, but you know, growing up, I grew up in a really challenging environment. I ended up bouncing between group homes, foster homes, and crisis centers, and eventually found myself in jail twice by the age of 17. And it was through that process I went to rehab, and I went and spent a lot of time understanding who I was and what made me tick and kind of my gifts. And it was there that I discovered a book on Java programming, this yellow book on computer programming, and it just took me down a different direction. It literally saved my life. You know, since then I discovered the internet, which turned out to be a pretty big deal. I've built 5 companies. The last 3 were acquired. The last 2 were venture backed. I've had Mark Cuban invest in my last company. I've even had the opportunity to spend a week with Richard Branson and meet some amazing entrepreneurs like Eric Ries and Dave McClure and Steve Blank, guys that shaped my thinking in the whole industry for so many software entrepreneurs out there. And I do this because I feel so grateful and blessed that they shared with me what they learned and allowed me to stand on their shoulders so I could see further, right? And understand and avoid those pitfalls. And that's what I want to do for you guys in this video. So let's get going. So the first thing I want to talk to you guys about the framework. This is the Idea to Exit framework, the way I think about it. First thing you got to get right is the founder's foundation, the mindset. Think about that, the beliefs. I could teach you how to do something, but if you don't have the right set of beliefs, you're not even going to take action. So the first area is understanding that. And as I mentioned, at the end of this video, I'm going to share with you guys a strategy is the best stuff out there to help you overcome that. So Founders Foundations 1. 2 is all about building the right product development. How do you do that? How do you interact with customers? How do you ask them questions? 3 would be market and distribution. Once you have a product, how do you get that out to the market in the biggest way possible? And then 4, building the right team. To me, it's all about the people. You know, at the end of the day, if you want to scale this out, if you want to have a big impact, you're going to need other people to come in and help you with that. Then it's selling, fundraising, so understanding how to raise the capital and fundraise your dream and get other people involved in that process. And then the last one under the sell category is, if you choose, exit strategies, getting acquired. But I'm also going to talk to you about bringing in CEOs to run your company, give you more freedom so that you can have more time with the family and have a bigger impact on the world. But this, at a high level, is the idea to exit framework. But I want to get in right into the content, some really important stuff, the no-cost product development process. So here's what I truly believe. If you do this right, you will not only build a product that customers love, but you will reduce the amount of time and energy it takes to validate that. And it's a simple strategy that I was taught building my companies. I built a company, Flowtown. Again, it grew to 50,000 customers in a 60-month period. And then my last company, Clarity, grew to over 50,000 experts. We were a business network. And we used this strategy to build the validation aspect of our product and also new features. And it's called clickable prototypes. Here's the cool part. Anybody can do this. You out there, it doesn't matter if you have no drawing, design skills whatsoever. There's tools online that will allow you to drag and drop and click and create these interfaces and build these beautiful flows and essentially simulate and create prototypes of the vision that you have in your mind for how the solution should work so that you can show it to customers. And to me, this is the game changer. Is not only do you use it to build the first version of your product, but it's also a great opportunity to really get crystal clear on the way the solution should work for your customers. Now, there is a framework and there's a process, and that's what I want to show you guys. It's a 4-step prototyping path. The first idea, really simple, is make sure you talk to potential customers. So interacting with potential customers and saying, hey, here's the problem I think you have, and here's the way the solution could work. That's step 1. 2, it's understanding their deep problem. Like, what is that problem that they have that they want a solution for? Be specific. Ask them if they've solved it before and how they solved it, and really try to learn from the customer. Then it's taking that feedback and building a clickable prototype. If you can, a high fidelity prototype that kind of looks like a working mock-up. And if you don't have the resources to do that, you don't have the skills to do that, you can do a low fidelity, which is just a wireframes and boxes and labels, but it gives customers something you could show them. So then you want to talk with the customers, show them what you built, ask them for feedback, and then iterate from there. What I'm going to show you next is a really cool interface. We actually use this at Clarity. It was a feature idea that we had, which was a browser extension. So we built an expert network for business advice. And this feature is one that we prototyped like we did with every one of our features, because to us, the easiest, fastest way to validate an idea was getting a real working prototype in front of a customer. So what we did is we used Keynote, and you can use different tools out there, and I've provided them in the download below. So if you want to know what tools and softwares I recommend for both Mac and Windows, download the document below, and it's got references and tutorials and all this fun stuff. But we essentially build the prototype and then show it to customers and get their feedback. What's cool is a lot of them thought it was a working prototype, because you export it as a PDF document that's clickable. You show it to them on a screen in full screen, and they're like clicking it, and it's like, oh my gosh, this is great. And they're giving you feedback based on real interactions. This took me about an hour and a half to create. It's a few slides. And to help you guys, guide you in that thinking and to challenge you guys to do this, I'm actually going to give you this as part of the download below. There's a link to download this specific file. And we never ended up building this feature because we put it out there, we talked to customers, and then we did a cost-benefit analysis, and we realized it wasn't the right thing today. But we ended up getting all that feedback without building anything. So to me, no-cost product development using clickable prototypes to build a working version of your product to show to customer is critical to avoid the fate like Janet had, where she invested $160,000 of her own money into a product that no customer wants. The next thing I want to share with you guys is true customer validation. Now, when I talk about true customer validation, I'm not talking about, I'm Canadian if you didn't know that. I'm not talking about people that are polite, right? In Canada, people are nice. You go to them with your idea and you say, hey, I'm thinking of building this solution, and they don't want to hurt your feelings. So they say, yeah, that's a great idea. And maybe you've gone down this path where you actually went, built a whole product, and then found out that nobody wanted it, and the people that said they loved it didn't really love it. They just didn't want to hurt your feelings. So here's the way I look at true customer validation. It's all about exchanging money, right? Things get real when you ask somebody for $1. If I'm sitting down with you, if I interview you at a coffee shop to do some customer interviews, That's one aspect of getting feedback, and I love that, and that's something you can do as soon as you have the idea. You can go out into the street and just talk to people about it. But if you want to talk about customer validation, knowing that they really have the problem and they're willing to pay for the solution, you got to get money exchange. And it could be as simple. I mean, I even say $1, you've gone pro. If you can get somebody to part with $1, it just changes the conversation. Think about it. You know, maybe at first they're like, oh yeah, that's a great idea. You know, you could also do X, Y, and Z. If you say, hey, that's great, you know, give me some money, then they go, oh, well, if I paid for this, does it have this feature? Am I going to be able to share it with my team? Can I add group features? Is there reporting? All these different questions that are true customer validation. And that's what we did at my company, Flowtown. You know, we were a social marketing solution for email marketers. We provided social data on top of emails. And when we validated that idea, we just went out to the streets and we talked to our friends and we said, hey, I've got this idea. It's an easy way for you to get social data on an email address that you could use when people sign up for your product in your email marketing list, so you know who they are, what social networks they're on. You can build your social, your presence online using this data. And if it's something that's interesting to you, it's $20. And my co-founder Ethan and I went out to the streets and got 20 people to pay us $20. And that's how we knew at the beginning. We hadn't even built anything yet. We were just talking about the idea. We knew there was something there. And then we kept to the next level of validation. But there is a path to do this right. I call it the customer creation process. And it's really simple. You start off with prototype. As I mentioned, the previous step, you build a working, clickable prototype. High fidelity, low fidelity, really doesn't matter. Then you want to find early adopters. So early adopters are customers that currently have the problem. Many entrepreneurs fail because they approach companies or individuals that don't have the problem. They try to sell them on the problem. Maybe you're guilty of this. I don't know, I'm just saying. You know, you had an idea and you're like, hey, do you have this problem? They say, no, I've never really thought of that. Yeah, you do. Here's X, Y, and Z reason. They're like, oh, I guess I could see that. If that's what you're doing, that's not what I'm talking about. Early adopters are customers or people that had the problem so bad, they tried to solve it themselves. They actually mangled together a spreadsheet and some scripts and a person and built a solution to an opportunity to build a software product, your product. So those are early adopters, people that are willing to invest in early adoption of technology. So you find those early adopters, 10 of them, you show them the prototypes and you try to get 10 pre-orders. Now, take the money. I don't know why most entrepreneurs have an aversion to getting paid, but if you're sharing your solution and you want to see if they truly validate the need, get paid. Now here's the cool part. Same thing for us with the $20, purchase of Flowtown. If we never built that, we could always give the money back. It wasn't about getting the money to fund the business. It was really just about validating the customers had the pain and they proved it to us with exchanging of money. If you've ever tried to close a deal with a big company, just the fact that you're getting them to pay for something requires legal infrastructure, contract negotiation, all these different steps that's going to help you learn faster as an entrepreneur. Extremely important to truly validate your solution for their problem. And then fourth, once you have this, a lot of people talk to me about like, okay, Dan, that's great, but how do I find a developer if they're a designer, or a designer if they're a developer, or both if they're a non-technical founder? If you can go to an individual, with your passion and your vision for the idea and the opportunity in the market and a prototype of how it'll work and customers that have prepaid, given you pre-orders for your solution, how hard do you think that's going to be to convince that person to come and join you? Think about that. How hard is it going to be to convince somebody, to persuade them to leave their job that they probably hate, to come work with you, to work on something exciting, interesting that you have customers for, that you've already designed, that you can give them the specs to build? To me, this is the game changer, right? It's starting with a real working prototype, putting it in front of customers, getting pre-orders, and then finally using that momentum to build your team. And that's what I think is really powerful. Now, I promised you guys at the beginning of this video, I was going to share with you guys a very important strategy. It's a tip. It's the fear of rejection. Both of these strategies I've shared with you require you putting your work, your creation in front of a customer, and that's really scary for a lot of people. So what I want to share with you guys is 5 beliefs that if you adopt, that you can think about, that you can write down. I want to invite you to write this down, that before you go out there, you take your prototype, you put it in front of a customer. Once you have that going and talking with potentially early adopters and getting them to buy on, you can use these beliefs to help guide that action. Now, there's 5. The first one is it's not about you, it's the product. A lot of people take this personally when they're getting feedback around their idea and the person goes, no, that's a stupid idea. They take it personally. They're not attacking you. They're attacking the idea, the solution, the product. That's okay. You want that feedback. Where a lot of entrepreneurs fail is they don't want to be rejected, so they just go off and do the thing they know how to do, which is build. And they build, like Janet did. Build, build, build. Hire people, tens of thousands of dollars, remortgaging their home to build something that nobody wanted, right? That didn't even get launched. I don't want that to happen to you. So remember, the feedback, that rejection, it's not about you, it's about the product. The second one is numbers matter, so start with more. The way I look at it is that if I know there's 100 potential customers and I just need to get 10 of them to buy in, then I won't feel that bad if one of them doesn't kind of respond the way I want them, right? If they don't get super excited, I'll be like, all right, cool, it's not for you, I'll move on to the next one. Where a lot of entrepreneurs get kind of, tripped up is they only have that one. They have like their friend's dad who owns a business that should want this solution. They go and approach this friend's dad and they don't buy it and they go, man, this can't be a good idea. No, that's not true. Start with more numbers. It'll help you with that fear of rejection. Third is get out early and often. The sooner you get out and you get feedback on your idea, the sooner you can iterate and tweak it and change it, right? So that way, when you finally do go out there with a prototype, when you go out there to get some sales, you already have a lot of these conversations that they're going to ask you, the questions they're going to ask you figured out. You already know how to respond. So early and often is a key belief that you need to start doing to get over the fear of rejection. The fourth one is look for opportunities to learn. When I'm out there talking to customers and I'm explaining the solution or I'm asking them for feedback on their problems, it's always an opportunity to learn. That is, to me, the pivotal difference between a startup is their speed of learning. If you're familiar with the lean startup, it's all about the iteration and velocity and speed that they're able to learn. So when I go out there, it's not about, do they like this idea or not? I go, what am I going to learn today in getting that feedback? And if they want it and they put that pre-order in, awesome. If they don't, cool. I learned about the market. I learned about their situation. All great stuff. Now, the fifth one to me is like, it's the one that's going to make you walk with a little bit of excitement in your step, and is they need your product. Think about this. You're building innovation in the world. You're creating a better, faster mousetrap. Whatever it is for that customer, you're building this. Don't ever forget that companies will not move forward and innovate without innovation and technology. What you're building. If you truly believe that what you have to offer the world is going to make their life better, it is your responsibility to transfer that enthusiasm and get people to buy into that vision. And that's why, to me, it's all about going into that meeting or talking with that customer and reminding yourself they need you. Whatever you built is so disruptive or innovative or amazing or makes their life better or helps them work faster that it's your responsibility to convey what you're doing in a way that gets them to buy because it's going to make their life better. They need you. That's the fifth one in the steps with dealing with rejection. Hopefully that you found that useful and you can think about these different beliefs as you go in and you go through this process of validating with customers and building a no-cost product. So what I wanted to accomplish in this video is to take you from a point of frustration or not really knowing what you should be doing in your company and just feel like you're struggling to one where you now feel like a superhero, where you know exactly what are the actions that I need to take next, the next steps, the strategy, the clear path to start working on your company, or if you've been struggling to really find your stride, Now, in the next video, we're going to be talking about two things: growth engines, how to find customers that love your product and then get them to tell their friends about it, and then also funding options, the 5 different funding options that you have available to yourself to fund your dream. And then I'm also going to be sharing a key strategy to get a lot of press or find ideal customers for your product. That's in the next video. But before I go, I want to ask you one question. I want to ask you, what industry or market do you want to disrupt with your software, technology, or innovation? Leave your answer below. What industry or market do you want to disrupt? I want to hear from you below. If you want to share with me the idea you have or the company that you're working on now, leave your answer below, and I'll see you guys in the next video.